Okay, good evening, everyone. How are you doing today? Good evening, online. Bass తగ్గించు. సౌండ్ కాదు, బేస్ అవతల సైడ్. All right. Okay. Lights off. Okay. Online, can you please confirm? Can you see my screen and can you hear me well? Online? Okay, cool. Okay, let's jump on. What did we discuss in our last class? Services, right? Ready for quick shootout? So you like the interviews, huh? Because you're good in technical, right? So that's why you are very eager for the interviews. Okay, so which is a service in AWS where we can go and create virtual machines? EC2. What is the full form of EC2? Elastic Compute Cloud. And EC2, what's the definition of EC2? EC2 is a AWS service where we can launch EC2 instances. Okay. EC2 is regional or global? Regional. So every service in AWS will be either regional or global. So what is the definition of load balancer? Load balancer which distribute the traffic to the servers. And what is this load balancer called in AWS? Elastic load balancer. And what is the definition of elastic load balancer? Which distribute the traffic to the multiple EC2 instances across availability zones. Fantastic. And load balancer is completely managed by AWS. Load balancer is a service or a server? It's a service. How do you access the load balancer? Using the DNS name, or URL. But I recommend to say DNS name. Okay, so do I need to worry about the performance of load balancer? No, we don't need to worry about it. Okay, and which is a service in AWS where easy and quick deployment of applications? Elastic Beanstalk. So in general, in platform as service, do we have control on the servers? No, but here in Beanstalk, do we have control on the servers? Yes, but is recommended to control? No. What is the backbone of Beanstalk? EC2. So who will be maintaining those EC2 instances? Beanstalk. So AWS Beanstalk will maintain. Is it good that we maintain it? No. Now, as I said, if we have an application with you, which are the services where you can go and deploy these applications? EC2 and Beanstalk. EC2 and Beanstalk. In Beanstalk, what we do? We just give the configuration. Everything is completely managed by Beanstalk. But whereas in EC2, we need to launch, we need to maintain, we need to set up, we need to do everything by ourselves. Good. And which is a service in AWS where everything is readily available? Light sail. What is the disadvantage of light sail? No auto scaling. No auto scaling. Okay. Which is a service in AWS is used for automations? Lambda. So in Lambda, what do we create? Function. What functions are those? Lambda functions. So Lambda functions support multiple languages or not? So which is the main important language that we? Python. So commonly used is Python. Okay. And this Lambda can run the code without servers or not? Yes. So Lambda is serverless or server based? Serverless. Lambda is global or regional? Lambda is regional or global? Regional. Why? Because I didn't say anything about the Lambda. So if I didn't say anything, then that's a regional. That's obviously regional. Okay. And yeah, which is a service where all the events are stored. Event bridge. So in event bridge, we create a rule and then we invoke the Lambda functions. So event bridge is not only for EC2 and Lambda, it is for all AWS services. Come Nana. You can take my special seat if required, if you want. There's no gap here. No. Okay, adjust for today, right? So yeah. Okay, so that is what we have discussed in our last class, and you are super good on that. And guys, do you remember I told you that I'll be injecting your brains? Are you doing revisions? So you are not doing revisions, but it's okay to do revision. But is it required to do revision? So guys, I'll be doing the same thing till end of the course. Just concentrate my class, okay? I told you I will be on my promise. Just concentrate the class. I'll be injecting each and every service in your brains. How you are easily answering now? Even after 10 days also, if I ask any question, you'll be able to answer the same way. If you are able to answer the same here in interviews, boom, boom, right? It is very easy in the interviews to answer all your questions because you have been habituated with it. And the maximum interview questions that will be asking, that is the maximum things. So no one will be asking more than these kind of questions. Okay, good. Okay, so today let's move to the next few services. What is that? Hmm. Why did I say that? No, right? Lambda supports Python, Lambda supports Java, Lambda supports .NET, Lambda supports Ruby, Lambda supports JavaScript. So everything it will support. But which is the most commonly used? Python. That's Java will also work. Japan girlfriend, AWS girlfriend, right? Naveen is saying like, what is your mata veyakunda mata? Yes, sir, chapparu. Thank you, Naveen. Yeah. No. So here, don't worry that, sir, to use Lambda, do we to learn Python separately? No. So guys, see here, one thing I'll tell you, most of the time in the real time, the code is there, no? Are you a developer? We are not a developers. For a developer, you need to think how to write a code. We are all AWS DevOps engineers, right? So you don't need to develop the code from scratch. Everything readily available. Where? Mummy. Google Talli, right? Google Mummy. Nowadays, Daddy also came. ChatGPT, right? So you can ask ChatGPT, you can ask, check in the Google that ready-made scripts will be available. But what I'm saying is you should be able to understand that script. If you have that power of understanding the script and if you want to do the changes, you should be able to do it. If you are in that level, it is good for you. Right? So no need to go with the full stack Python or no, not required. You're not a developers here. Okay? Good. Let's start with this course with this. Let's go few many years back when computer was invented. Not that much back, but right. So let's say in my childhood, right, in my child, I still remember. Do you remember the first computer? The monitor will be there, big tube will be there in the back, and big CPUs will be there, right? That will be there in computer institutes, right? If you want to store any files externally, on those days, there was a storage, external storage. Do you remember that? Floppies. What are those? How many of you seen floppies? You used floppies, huh? You seen, right? So I was the person in my college days. I used to use floppies to submit my project because on those days only floppies were there, right? What is the size of the floppy? Don't show it with hands. Okay, that is different. So floppy. Do you know what is the size of the floppy? 2 MB. How much? How much? 2 MB. The floppy size is how much? 2 MB. Nowadays, if you take a selfie, like putting separate different type of your styles, how much is your one single photo? More than 2 MB, right? So on those days, the floppy size was 2 MB. Just imagine how many floppies I was carrying to submit the project, right? So I still remember those days where I used to submit, I have a collection of floppies and then I'll put the rubber band on top of it and put a name that this is my project, right? So that was the floppy days. Nice name, floppy days, right? Okay, the floppies was sufficient. Was the floppy sufficient? Can you help him to find a seat? Anywhere? Just gives a sign. Okay, so was the floppies was sufficient for us to store the data? No. So later what we have got is we got what? CDs. At least have you used CDs? You use CDs, I know. Right? So what is the size of the CD? 700 MB. Correctly. Nice. You have used more CDs, huh? Okay. So 700 MB. How much was that? 700 MB. Was that sufficient for you? No. Later we got what? DVDs. What is the size of the DVD? 4.7 GB. So do you remember 3 movies in one DVD? We used to get it for rent for 10 rupees, right? And we used to have a, what is that? CD player, DVD player. Those are all your childhood days, right? Yeah. My childhood also same. Okay. Don't think I'm very far. Okay. We're all same generation, no? I'll take it. I'm just kidding. Okay. Yeah. So DVDs were sufficient now on those days. No. Later, what we got? Pen drives. At least you were there. All you guys are born now, just now, girls, right? So pen drives. So what is the size of the pen drive? Maximum 128 GB. Yeah. And later pen drives was also sufficient for you. No. Then what we got? Hard disk. What is the maximum size of a hard disk? 1 terabyte or 2 terabyte external hard disk. Remember? So we used to have this kind of hard disk, Nana. We used to have this kind of external hard disk where you used to store the data. But the 2 terabyte is also sufficient for you. If you just go for a vacation with your friends, I'm saying, with not your personal friend, right? So with your friends, this 2 terabyte will be in one day, it will be full. Yes or no? Every kind of angle position, you will be taking the photos, right? So 2 terabyte will be easily will get full. Okay. And many people, what they think is all the previous photos that what you have, you will be putting in the external hard disk. Yes or no? Thinking that it is safe for you, thinking like it is a backup for you. But it is safe? Your external hard disk is safe? Just in case Pusukku, that external hard disk fell down. Not my phone. Fell down. What will happen? Your hard disk will break. Just in case any virus went inside and then got corrupted. So is it secure? Is it safe? And this 2 terabyte is sufficient for you? So what do you need? You need more space. You need more secure and you need more safe thing also. So at the side, AWS is observing everything. Like how there is a meme, right? Right? I'm observing everything. So AWS is observing everything and he came up with a service called S3. Say that? S3. The full form of S3 is Simple Storage Service. Simple Storage Service. So what was the problem for us? The problem for is S3. The problem for is the external hard disk is how much? 2 terabyte. Is that sufficient for you? Is it sufficient, Nana? No. So what do you need? You want limited storage or unlimited storage? What we need? Everywhere we go, we need unlimited. Food also, storage also. Right? So, all kind of disco colors I'm getting here. Okay. So S3. Right? So S3, the good news for all of us is S3 is unlimited storage. S3 is unlimited storage. That's a perfect certification question and interview questions also. So S3 is unlimited storage by AWS. So if I want to compare this S3 to some other thing, I would say that, do you know Google Drive? Google Drive is from which company? Google company. So Google Drive is storage or not? So from, and how about Microsoft? OneDrive. So Microsoft has OneDrive, Google have G Drive. Similarly, our AWS has S3. What do we do with the Google Drive? We will just upload the files. Do we do anything else there? Can you execute any file? Can you run any file? Can you install any file? What do? You just store. That is only used for what purpose? Storage purpose. Can we do anything with that? No. Similarly here also, guys, similarly here also, S3 is used to just store the files. Can you install, run, execute anything here? No. So here I'm writing S3 is used to store the files. So S3 can store any kind of files. Yes or no? Is there any restrictions? No. Any kind of files, meaning I will say that flat files. What is that? Flat files. Flat file meaning you can say that any kind of files. S3 can store any kind of files. So with S3, what we do, Nana? With S3, we can upload, download, store the data and access your files. Yes or no? Access your files. Can you execute any files in S3? No. You cannot execute any files in S3. Can you install, Nana? You cannot install, run, right? Execute any files in S3. What we can do? We can only store and then download and access the data. Google Drive is server-based or serverless? Serverless. Our S3 is also serverless. Remember, I told you already yesterday what is the meaning of serverless. So where you no need to log into any machine. Authentication is different. For everything you need to have authentication or not. Username and password you need to put it. But are you logging into any machine? No, right? So that is here. S3 is also our serverless. Now, as AWS, as S3 is serverless, who will handle everything about S3? AWS, right? So do we need to worry about the performance, high availability, security, scalability? No, everything is managed by AWS. AWS handles high availability, performance, scalability, etc. For whom? For S3. We just need to use it. So what is the full form of S3 without looking? Now you confidently, you are saying that it is simple storage service. But in certification, they will ask you the question like this. Babu, full form of S3, option A, simple storage service. Option B, service simple storage. Option C, storage simple service. Option D, none of the above. Now clearly, but when you're writing the exam, you start scratching your head. Array, option 1 looks correct, option 2 also looking correct, right? This is a problem that you get, but I'll give you a small hint to remember you for your entire lifetime. So remember, whatever we are learning till now, it is simple for you or not? Yes or no? With Riya sir, everything is simple. In AWS also, every service, most of the services will start with simple and with service. Everything will start with simple and with service. What service is this? Storage service. Now add it. Simple storage service. Yes or no? So in AWS, yeah. Please find out. So as I said, please adjust for today. We'll go back to our normal rooms. Okay. So in AWS, all services will start with simple and end with service. No. This is service names. Naveen. Let me give an example. So everything will start with simple and with service, right? Then what is this S3 called? Simple storage service. Now there is a service which is used to send notifications. Can you form the service name? Email, notifications. SNS. What is that? SNS. Can you tell me what is the full form of SNS? Simple notification service. Everything will start with, end with service. So which is the service used to send notifications? SNS. Okay, one more. Which is the service used to send emails? Yes, sir. ES. Simple. Yes, sir. Yes. Full form? Simple email service. So like this, most of the services will start with simple and with service. Now, there any confusion? No. It's fantastic. Okay. Let's move on a little bit here. So now let's take, what's your name? Yashwant. Harshwant. Okay. I used your name, right? Yeah. So let's say, for example, this guy, he saw that I have in my laptop so many movies, right? And he asked, sir, you have so many different movies. Please share with me. So what I did, I started sharing with him. What type of movies? Hollywood movies, Tollywood movies, Bollywood movies. Enough. Okay. So here, what I did, I gave this entire thing to him. What he'll do in his laptop? Will he put everything on the desktop? Nicely, what he'll do? He will create a what? Folder. What he'll create? He'll create a folder. Inside the folder, what he put? He put the files. So can you tell me one movie name, file name? Pushpa. Pushpa. Dot. Yeah, so same thing, right? So yes or no? In our laptops, what we do? We create a folder. Inside the folder, what we have? File, and we have the name of the file. Yes or no? Similarly, S3 is also a storage, right? In S3, how do we store? In S3, instead of folder, we should call it as bucket. Say that. What do we call? Bucket. What bucket? S3 bucket. Or you can call it as bucket. What do we call? Bucket. Bucket is nothing but folder only. But in S3, we call it as bucket. And inside the bucket, what we have? Files. But we should not call file. We call it as objects. Say that. Objects. And here, name of the file, we call it as key. We call it as what? Key. Don't worry. I'll tell you. What is a bucket? Bucket is a container of objects. You have in your hostel, you have bucket. What does the bucket contain? Water. Here also S3 bucket is there. What does the bucket contain? Objects. So what is a bucket in your hostel room? Bucket is the container of water. Water. R should be rolling. Yeah. Right? So bucket is the container of water there. But here bucket is the container of objects. So this is one of the interview question. So what is a bucket? Bucket meaning here? Bucket is a container of objects. What is an object? File. Object is a file. What is the name of the object? Name of the object is called, yeah, name of the file, or name of the file also you call, name of the object also you call, is a key. You understand, Nana? In S3, we need to use this wording. So in S3, what do we create? Bucket. What is a bucket? In interview, many people, you know what they say? When I ask what is a bucket, they'll say object. What is a bucket? Is it good to say object? If I'm asking what is apple, then you're saying orange. It's not good, right? You're telling completely opposite thing, right? So bucket meaning what? Is a container of objects, you should say, or collection of objects. We call it as here bucket. Okay. And bucket is a container of object. What does a bucket contain? Objects. What is that object? Object is a file. What is the name of the object? Key. Bhayanak certification question I'm saying here. S3 is a object based storage. Say that. S3 is what based storage? Object based storage. Very important question. What is S3? S3 is what based storage? object-based storage. S3 is global or regional? S3 is regional. And inside the buckets are also regional. Buckets are regional. Okay, so do you know what is HTML files? Okay, forget about that. Do you know what is static? Do you know what do you call static website? What is static website? What is static websites? Yes, lucky. Previously it was global. Now it is regional. So guys, static website meaning where the data will not change. It will be same data will be there forever. Yes or no? And do you remember, do you know HTML? So whatever the HTML that you are developing, all those are all static. So they're all static. So if the data is changing by connecting to the database, that is called dynamic websites. So does the static website has any database in the backend? No. So static website meaning just only the site where it has the data, it will not change, it will be there forever until you change it. Those are called static website. Now tell me, I have given a static website to you and I have told you that put it, host it somewhere and give me the URL. Which are the services that you take it? EC2 and Beanstalk. So for if it is EC2, what you need to do? You need to launch EC2 instance, install the web server, and then put the application inside it. And one machine is sufficient. No, you need to have two machines. Then after that, what we need to put? Load balancer you need to put. You need to do this much hangama. Yes or no? For what? For static website. So guys, we should say thank you to AWS that for static website, you no need to go to EC2. Our S3 is helping us to set up deploy a static website. You know how simple it is? Create a bucket, upload all HTML files, and there is a button called enable static website. Enable it, and URL will be there. Access it. Don't need to worry about the performance of the website. Do you need to worry about the high availability of website? Do you worry about the scalability of the website? NET of the website? No, everything is managed by AWS because S3 is server based or serverless? Serverless. Super or not? So most of the company websites or most of the websites which are static, those are on where? S3 only. Okay. So S3 supports static website hosting. So how do you set up static website hosting? Simply create a bucket and upload all the HTML files and enable static website hosting. That's it. And do you need to worry about anything about this? No. No need to worry about high availability, performance, scalability, etc. Everything is managed by whom? Because S3 handles it. Okay. Is it clear? Clear? Online, is this clear, Nana? Nice. We can host on static in S3 or is there other way? We can host only static website. Yes, only static website, Sajid. You cannot host any dynamic website because does the S3 supports dynamic things here? No, it supports only static. So now you understand when to use S3. Let's say, for example, a customer came to you and said, hey, Babu, I have so many files. I need to store in cloud. Which service do you suggest? S3. S3 is what? It's a storage service or not? You can upload and store it forever, right? Super. Okay. Now, I will be teaching you very important subject now. Very important. Okay. Yeah. So guys, as I said, online people especially, Please try to concentrate. Okay. After completing the entire topic, please don't say once more. Okay. So please try to concentrate. I'll be going very slow. Please try. Offline, anyways, I'm watching you. Okay. See, the topic here is EBS. What is that? Elastic Block Storage. Say that, Nana. Elastic Block Storage. That's why I told don't call Beanstalk as EBS, because EBS represent Elastic Block Storage. On that day, I didn't told you what is EBS. Yes or no? Because the time comes here now to understand what is EBS. That's why I have launched this name. So what is the full form of EBS? Elastic Block Storage. S3 is what based storage? S3 is what based storage? Object based storage. Say that. S3 is what based storage? Object based storage. EBS is what based storage? Block based storage. EBS is what based storage? Block based storage. Certification question. EBS is block based storage. What is the meaning of block based storage? I'll tell. Block based storage meaning, Nana, you can do everything there. In S3, can we install anything? Can you execute anything? Can you do anything apart from storing? No. But whereas EBS meaning block-based storage meaning similarly like your hard disk. In your laptop, you have a hard disk, right? Any restrictions are there? You can do anything, right? So that is called block storage. What is that called? You can run, install, do everything in this block storage. So what is the full form? Elastic Block Storage. Okay, see here. Everyone has the laptops, correct? Sorry. Everyone has a laptops. And let's say, for example, you went and purchased, you went to the showroom and you started purchasing the laptop. Every laptop needs to have a hard disk or not? Without hard disk, your laptop will work? No. So when you're purchasing the laptop, by default, you get the hard disk. Yes or no? What does that hard disk contain? Hard disk itself is storage. But what the provider is giving you, what is coming with the laptop in the hard disk? What is that? OS. What is that? Yes or no? So when you are purchasing a laptop, what is giving? He's giving the OS or not? That OS will be in your hard disk or not? That hard disk is nothing but C drive or not? Yes or no, guys? Yes. So see here, if you want a laptop, you will go and purchase a laptop and the hard disk will come by default. What does the hard disk contain? Operating system. And what is the size of the hard disk? Depends. It might be 500 GB. It can be 1 terabyte also. Yes or no? Now, your laptop, this is laptop for you. But whereas here in AWS, what are the servers called? Instances. What instances are those? EC2 instances. So here we will be launching what? EC2 instances. So every EC2 instance need to have a hard disk or not? Without hard disk, your EC2 instance will be launched? No. So how you are getting a default hard disk for you? Similarly, whenever you launch the EC2 instance also will get a default hard disk. But from now onwards, you should not call it as hard disk. You should call it as volume. What is that? Hard disk is equal to volume. From now onwards in AWS, you should never call it as hard disk. You should call it as what? Volume. What volumes are those? EBS volumes. What volumes are those? EBS. You can call it as volume also, or you can call it as EBS volumes also. Anything is fine. Okay. So now you tell me what is hard disk called here? Hard disk. Hard disk is called here volume. What volumes are these? EBS volumes. EBS volume. Okay. So let me go and take a real-time example. Let me go and launch one EC2 instance. Okay. So you're launching the EC2 instance, Nana. You're launching, I'll write here, EC2 instance. EC2 instance. So I'm launching the EC2 instance. In which availability zone you want to launch? 1A. Availability zone. 1A. Region meaning Mumbai. So anyways, we are using Mumbai all the time. So we'll be considering availability zone. Which availability zone I can go and launch? 1A. It can be 1B also. It can be 1EC also. Yes. So let us go and launch one EC2 instance in 1A. And this EC2 instance, by default, you get what? When you're launching the EC, by the way, how many steps are there to launch EC2 instance? 7 steps. When you're launching the EC2 instance, you will get a default hard disk. You should not call it as hard disk. You should call it as volume. So when you're launching the EC2 instance, you're getting a default volume. What does that volume contain? Operating system. So when you're launching the EC2 instance, a default volume will come. What does the default volume contains? Operating system. And that volume is called root volume. What volume? What volume? Root volume. Root volume meaning what? Which has operating system. What is the root volume? Which has operating system. So can I say that which is the volume that you get by default? Root volume. What does the root volume contains? Operating system. Remember, every time root volume contains by default operating system. When you're launching the EC2 instance, you will get the default volume. What volume is that? Root volume. What does the root volume contains? Operating system. So now I'm putting it. This is the volume. What does the root volume contains? OS. Is nothing but C drive or not? Is our C drive or not, guys? Yes. And what volume is this? Root volume. Okay. So by default, you're getting a root volume. If required, can you add also another volume here? Yes or no? Yes or no? As this is virtualization, anytime you can create a volume and then attach to EC2 instance. Create a volume and attach. What is the default volume that you get? Root volume. So do we attach the root volume here? No, because by default it is there. But I want D drive. What do you need to do? Create a volume and then attach it. You don't want, what do you do? Detach. You want? Attach. You don't want? Detach. You want D drive. What do you do? Create and then attach. You want E drive. Create a volume and then attach. You want F drive. Create a volume and then attach. You don't want? Detach. So volumes can be attached. Volumes can be detached. You're getting? Volumes can be attached. Volumes can be anytime detached because this is virtualization. No. Is it possible to attach detached volumes to our hard disk? I mean, for your laptop? That's not possible because it's physical hard disk. But whereas this is virtual. So anytime you can create a volume, volume is nothing but is a storage. It's a volume. And then attach it how much ever you want. Right? So here, can I go and create? Guys, the default volume is called what volume? Root volume. And if you're creating another volume, this is called additional volume. Say that. So basically we have two types of volume. What are those? Root volume and then additional volume. Two types of volumes. Root volume and additional volume. What does the additional volume contains? You have your laptop, no? What does the C drive contain? OS. What does the D drive contain? Your personal data. Yes or no? So here what we do? We have our own data. Now tell me, data will you put in C drive or D drive? D drive. Why? Generally in your laptop also, where do you keep all your personal files? D drive. Why? Why don't you put in C drive? Just in case if something happens, your C drive is gone or not. That's operating system. And that too, C drive is meant for operating system. If you put the data in the C drive only, all the read and writes happening on the same drive. Operating system also will run on the same drive. So your machine performance will be impacted. That's the reason why all your laptops, it's better to create a separate drive for your data. Here also what we have now, we have a additional volume where we have a data. So which drive is this now? D drive. So can you tell me for one EC2 instance, can I attach multiple volumes? How many root volumes you can have per machine? One. How many additional? One or multiple? Multiple. So here what you do, if you want, we have EBS. EBS meaning, Nana, it's a centralized storage. What is that? Centralized EBS, elastic block storage. It is a centralized storage. How much ever the size that you want, create a volume and then attach. But volumes are coming from where? EBS. So there is a button called create volume. Click on create volume and it will ask how much size that you need. 50, 100, 200, 2000, 3000, 5000. How much size that you need? Mention it. Create a volume. And then what do you do? Attach. So here, this is our EBS. Create a volume. And then what you need to do? You need to attach. So volumes can be attached. Volumes can be detached. Volumes can be attached. Volumes can be detached. Here I'm writing volumes can be attached and detached. Okay. There is a question here. Attached to additional volume. So no, it's already I have attached. So by default, who is this? Lakshmi, Hema. By default, when you launch the EC2 instance, how many volumes will be there? Only one volume. Which volume is that? Root volume. If you want additional volume, what you need to do? Create and then attach it to. Like this, D drive is also called additional volume. E drive is also called additional volume. Rest of all the volumes, we call it as additional volumes. Only one we have here, root volume. Okay. What is the difference between /root and no, Lucky. Do not, let's not go into Linux. That is Linux topic that you're talking about. But root meaning here, don't compare with Linux. No. Lucky, no. Okay. So here we are learning about AWS topics. When we go to Linux, there we learn separately. So you can attach multiple volumes to the EC2 instance. There is a question, you answer it, guys. Navin is saying additional volume don't contain OS. What does additional volume contain? Data. Does it contain OS? No. Which volume contain OS? Root volume. Very good. EC2 instance has default volume. What volume is that? That volume is called what? Root volume. Okay. What does the root volume contains? The root volume always contains what, Nana? OS. What type of OS that you know? Windows and then Linux. Majorly, we have how many types of operating systems here? 2 types. What are those? Windows and then Linux. Windows, we know since childhood we are using the Windows, right? Can you tell me, do you know operating systems are classified into mainly 2 types? Operating systems basically classified into 2 types. One is, we call it as client side OS. Another one is server side OS. Now tell me, our EC2 instance, a default volume will come with, has OS inside it, right? So that is client side OS or server side OS? Huh? Server side OS. Which one? Server. What is the client side OS? Can you give me a few examples of client side OS? What is your laptop has? Windows 10 or Windows 11. Windows 10, Windows 11 will come under client side operating. Do you think that the AWS EC2 is providing Windows 10 and 11? That is, it is used for your purpose, for client side operating system. But AWS is providing for what? Server side operating system. Examples are, if it is Windows Server 2021, 2022, 2025, like this they will provide. And also it provide Linux, no? Linux. Can you tell me few? Which one? Red Hat. Say that. Red Hat. CentOS. Say that. CentOS. Ubuntu. SUSE, etc. There are so many Linux-based operating systems also AWS is providing. You just need to pick up which one you need. So you tell me, in our course, mostly we should be using Windows or Linux? Linux. Why? Huh? Linux course is free for you. Why it is free? Okay, I'm not saying why it is free, but why do we use Linux? Which is most commonly used in the real time. And also compared to Windows, Linux is cheaper. Machines are cheaper. And of course, there is no license for Linux, right? So which is the most commonly used in real time? Linux. That's the reason why here we'll be using mostly Linux. I'll use Windows also, but only 2%, 3% times, only 1 or 2 times. That's it. But rest we'll going for Linux because you'll be learning Linux also, right? So do you know Linux? Yes or no? How many of you know? Little bit, Linux. Okay, you know the commands, right? So that commands is sufficient. But here, those who don't know Linux, after completing AWS, for few days, I'll be teaching you Linux. I'll be teaching Linux also here. So that in DevOps, 100% will be using which one? Windows or Linux? Linux only. For that reason, you need to know how to run the commands. What are the commands for what purpose? You should know. I'll be teaching you separately Linux also here. And also Linux classes are also started separately, which is free for you. Okay. So if you are interested, you can go and learn separately Linux also here in Naresh IT, which is free. Okay. Sudhakar, you can join there if required. So EC2 supports server side or client side. EC2 supports which one? Only server side OS, not client side OS. Let's say, for example, you are working. All of a sudden, you got to know in one you saw a operating system on the volume, and that what is that volume called? Yes, if you have OS on the volume, what is that volume called? The volume is called root volume. Wherever you see the operating system, and that volume is always a root volume. EC2 instance has how many root volumes? EC2 instance can have only one root volume. EC2 instance can have multiple additional volumes? Yes. EC2 instance can have multiple additional volumes. Okay. So when you purchase a laptop from the shop, what is the default size that you get? Windows, C drive. How much you have? You have laptops, no? What is the C drive size? 256 GB. That is the default size, right? Some people will get 250 GB, some people will get 500 GB, some people also get 1 terabyte based on how much budget that you put it. Yes or no? Here also, Nana, whenever you launch the EC2 instance, what is the default volume that you get? Root volume. What is the default volume that you get? Root volume. And there are two types of operating systems. What are those? Windows, Linux. Let's say if you are launching Windows EC2 instance, which one? Windows EC2 instance, the default volume, root volume, you get how much? 30 GB. How much size? So that's a question I'll be asking here is, what is the Windows EC2 instance default root volume size? How much? 30 GB. If it is Linux, 8 or 10 GB. How much? If it is Linux machine, how much GB? 8 or 10 GB. When you launch a Linux machine, what is the root volume size? 8 or 10 GB. Maximum 10 GB. Sometimes it will give the 8 GB based on the operating system that you have selected. These two are very important. What is the Windows default size? 30 GB. Sir, but 30 GB is it sufficient? 30 GB? Not sufficient, right? So I'm just telling you here for certification purpose, the maximum size of the volume. What's that? Maximum size of the volume. Each volume size maximum, how much AWS is giving? 16 terabyte. How much? 16 terabyte. So your C drive can be up to how much? 16. D drive? 16. E drive? 16. F? G? G ke baad? H? How much? 16. So like this, in your EC2 instance, every volume can be up to 16 terabyte. But do you go and create 16 terabyte? No, so that is a maximum size. So this is a certification question. What is the maximum size of the EBS volume? Maximum size of the EBS volume is how much? 16 terabyte. 16 terabyte is only for root volume. So when I say EBS volume, that will be a root volume also, that will be a additional volume also. The volume maximum size is how much here? 16 terabyte. Okay, see here. How much ever you need to create that much size, yes or no? If you click on create volume, you need to mention the size or not? Does AWS will give you default? Does AWS will predict your mind and say, oh, this guy need how much? 50, let me give 50. No. So you need to give the size how much you want. Yes or no? So that is called pre-provisioning. What is that? So volume should be pre-provisioned. Say that. Volume should be pre-provisioned. Yeah. Volume should be pre-provisioned. How much? It's your wish. You can go for 50 also, 500 also, 5,000 also, maximum 16 terabyte. ESA is asking one EC2 instance maximum size. No. EC2 instance, guys, EC2 instance is like assembling it. EC2 instance is separate, volumes are separate. Whenever I'm talking about the maximum size, it is a maximum size here meaning volumes. Whenever you're talking about here EC2 instance meaning, remember we discussed about instance types. 2 GB, 4 GB, 10 GB, like this. That is the memory, that is the capacity of the machine. That can be in thousands of GBs, but we don't worry about that now here. Yes, sir. Okay. So when I'm talking about the size here, it is the volumes. Volume should be pre-provisioned. Provisioned. Okay. So volume should be pre-provisioned, like how much? 50 GB, 100 GB, like this. How much you can maximum? 16 terabyte you can create. Good. Sir, what exactly do you mean when you say we can execute install in EBS? We can't do that in, let's say for example, if you want to install, give me one software in your laptop. Let's say VS Code, for example. Software, any software. Is it possible to install in S3? Is it possible to install in S3? You cannot install it. Office 365, can you install it in S3? No, right? So, but in EBS, can you install or not? EBS is attached to your EC2 instance. So that is a volume, EBS volume, right? You can install everything in EBS volume. Okay. That is what I meant. Okay. Sai Kumar. Nana, tell me one thing. Can you attach one volume to multiple EC2 instances at the same time? What is your answer? Can you attach one volume to multiple EC2 instances at the same time? Yes or no? Any volume. If you say yes, let me relate to your personal life. You have your laptops and you have your hard disk. That one hard disk can be attached to multiple laptops at the same time. There you are saying correctly. Here laptop is nothing but EC2 instance. Hard disk is nothing but volume. Just I'm asking, one volume can be attached to multiple EC2 instances at the same time? Answer is no. So one volume can be attached to, Lucky saying instance will be like, yeah, I'm using my dialogue. Huh? Okay, fine. Okay, I'm saying here, you cannot attach a volume to multiple EC2 instances at the same time. But I'm putting a star mark here. What's that? I'm putting, what does the star mark represents? Important, that is in your college days. Star mark represents here in my course, meaning there is dialogue. దీన్ని గుర్తుపెట్టుకో మళ్ళీ మాట్లాడదాం తర్వాత మాట్లాడదాం. So guys, here when I put here star mark, please remember this. I'll be talking about this later when time comes. So for now, I'm saying one volume cannot be attached to multiple EC2 inside at the same time. But I'm telling you, remember this. There will be one time where I'll say yes for this. But I'll give you the reason for that later. Now, it is not good for your health. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Let me ask one question also here. I just wanted to ask whether you say correct or not. Let's see. You have launched one EC2 instance. Okay. And then you attached one volume. Let's say how much GB? 100 GB. How much GB? 100 GB you have attached. But you have used 50 GB only inside it. How much GB? How much data that you have? 50 GB. AWS will charge for 50 GB or 100 GB. AWS will charge for 50 or 100. Who said 50? Nenga Sudha, you do. Okay, let me relate to your personal life example. Such manner. Okay. So many people here says 50 GB or many people says 100 GB. Some people say 50 GB, right? Let me tell you one thing. You went to restaurant. You went to restaurant and then you ordered biryani, jumbo biryani, right? How much is jumbo biryani? 7, for example. And what you did was you ate only little bit and then you are done. Waiter came and asked, sir, bill. And you say, hey, I ate only this part, I'll pay 100 rupees. क्या बोलेगा? Yes or no? So you need to pay full amount or only half a little amount? Yes or no? Here, that meaning you, yeah, lucky they paid, no one will pay. Okay. So here, you have ordered full biryani. So you should think first of all how much you can eat. You can only order only single biryani. Yes or no? Why will you go for jumbo biryani if you're only one person? You have to think. You need to have sense. Yes or no? Similarly, here also, if you know that you need only you have 50 GB data, go and create 50 GB or 60 GB. AWS, and by the way, another important thing is, does AWS has access inside the machine? Remember basics. Does the AWS has access inside the machine? No. So how does the AWS know how much GB you're using? How does the AWS know how much GB you're using? He don't know, right? So he will know only how much you took from me. How much you took? 100 GB. I'll charge for 100 GB. That's it. Whether you use it, you don't use it. Understood? Remember that. Okay. That is different. If you go for pay as you go model, you get, because you used how much? 50 GB here. He took 100 GB. So how much you have not used here? That model will not come here because this is inside the machine. So that pay as you go model will come later when we talk about pricing models, right? Let's say, for example, pay as you go model meaning you have the fans running here. It is running since 2 hours, for example. And later I have switched off. How much I need to pay for? 2 hours. You have how much hours you have used, you need to pay for that only. Yes or no? But similarly here also, if you are launching an EC2 instance and you have used for 5 hours, how much you need to pay for? 5 hours only. If you stop, do you need to pay? No need. That is pay as you go model. No. How much you have created, you need to pay for that. Okay. Okay. Now, what is the default size of the volume? C drive, Windows, 30 GB. But this 30 GB is sufficient. After 2 months, it will be full or not. So the user will come to you saying that, right? Come to you saying that, Ajay, right? C drive is full. Please do something. So tell me, C drive is full. What will you do? Create Additional volume. Obviously, create an additional volume. But C drive is full. C drive is full. You are creating additional volume. But what you need to is, as the C drive is full, you need to extend or expand the size. If the C drive is full, your operating system will work. No, if you create additional volume, is there any use? No, right? So what you need to expand. Here we don't use the word called expand, we use extend. What's that? Extend. So to, let's say 30 GB, you have extended to 50 GB or 100 GB. Do you need to stop the EC2 instance for that? Answer is no. That is the beautiful thing about the virtualization. Volume size can be increased on fly. On, what is the meaning of fly? While running itself. Do you need to stop the EC2 instance? No need. So volume size can be increased on fly. No need to stop the EC2 instance. No downtime. No downtime. Okay, now you have increased the size. Let's say, okay, for example, I have asked Ajay, go ahead and then create a 50 GB volume. He said, okay, sir. And then when he's clicking on create volume, you need to put the size, right? How much? 50 GB. When you are putting, he's typing 50, 50, Pusuk, he put it one more zero. And then he created it. I asked how much? 50. He created how much? 500. What to do? What to do? So generally the first thing that we get in your mind is decrease the volume. But remember, Nana, we can increase, we cannot decrease. In AWS, we cannot decrease. So you need to think carefully and then create the volumes. Just in case I asked 50, but you put one more zero, you created 500. So you cannot decrease the volume size. What you need to do? Delete the volume and recreate it with 50 GB. Recreate it with 50 GB. So the question here is, volume size can be decreased or cannot be decreased? Volume size cannot be decreased. What do you need to do? Delete the volume and recreate it based on requirement. Nana, is this clear till here, everyone? Today? Or you're comfortable? Yeah. Yeah, you go. Okay. So Harish is asking, when we create an attached volume to instance, is need to stop. Do you need to stop while attaching the volumes? Answer is no need. So we can anytime attach it, we can anytime detach. Okay, as he is talking about attach and detach, so let me have a concept called device names. Say that. Now for the volumes concept is all about attach to detach. Yes or no? Create a volume and then attach. Create a volume and then attach. So every time we attach, we detach. Whenever you are attaching it, you need to give the device name. Volume is like a device only. So when you are attaching it, so let's say for one EC2 instance, you have multiple volumes or not. So EC2 instance will understand. So multiple volumes are attached to me based on the device names. What based on the device names. So remember, root volume device name. Remember this. For Windows and for Linux, root volume device name is /dev/sda1. Say that. Very important. What is the root volume device name? /dev/sda1. Say that one more time. Online, put it in the chat, Nana. So what is the root volume device name? /dev/sda1. So additional volumes can be /dev/sd. Instead of A1, don't put A, put it B, or put it E, or put it F, etc. Remember, root volume should be always what? Okay. Root volume is always mounted or attached as /dev/sda1. Perfect interview and certification question. /dev/sda1. Okay, I'll tell you the reason behind it. So guys, I'll tell reason. See, I have EC2 instance. I'm the EC2 instance. Okay. And then multiple volumes it attached or not? Okay. Assume that I have C drive, root volume attached, and then additional volume attached. Root volume is attached with the device name. What? /dev/sd1. Okay. Now I have someone launched the EC2 instance. EC2 instance comes up. Someone started. When it started, EC2 instance need to be booted. No, first of all, when you switch on your laptop, what will happen? First, it will boot it or not? Boot it from where? From the operating system or not? EC2 instance also need to get booted from the operating system. So how does the EC2 instance knows which volume has operating system? You getting it? Logically. I have multiple volumes attached to the EC2 instance. EC2 instance need to check, where is the operating system? Which volume I need to boot it? So EC2 instance will identify the operating system with the device name. So whenever you are mounting the root volume with /dev/sda1, EC2 instance will always consider that has the operating system. Then only EC2 instance will boot it from that volume. So that's why root volume should be always mounted with /dev/sda1, because EC2 instance will be booted from the /dev/sda1. Name, mounting, name, just name. When you mount, when you put a pen drive to your laptop, it will create a mount point, right? As a D drive, as a name. Okay, name. Okay. Raj is asking, when we are deleting the volume, what if we have some data in that volume? Okay, let me give you a personal example. You have a pen drive. What you're saying, the question you're asking is, if I want to delete my data in the pen drive, what will happen to my data? Delete, no. What will you do if you don't want to delete? Don't delete. Don't delete. So if you are deleting the volume, obviously data will be deleted. But you are concerned about the data, take a backup. How to take a backup? We have concepts coming in. Okay. Okay. Now I am asking one interview certification question for you. Listen carefully. Listen carefully. Is it possible to detach? Listen carefully. Is it possible to detach the root volume while EC2 is running? What is your answer? Yes or no? No. Why? It has operating system. So if I want to detach, what I need to do? Excellent. That is a perfect certification question. See how you are answering the questions, because you understand the logic, right? So I'm writing it here. Is it possible to detach the root volume while EC2 is running? Answer is no. What do you need to do? Stop the EC2 instance first, and then detach the root volume. Nice. Same thing. I'm asking again. Is it possible to detach the additional volume while EC2 is running? Answer is yes. Because does it has any operating system? No. But is recommended? It is recommended to detach while it is running? No. Because assume that if someone is writing some data inside it, and from backend you are removing it, he can remove it, but it's very hard, right, for him. So data problems might come. But the thing is, yes, we can do it. But is it recommended? It's not recommended to detach while running. So what you need to do? What you need to do? Stop first. Safe eject. Very good. Lucky. Pen drive also. Can you just remove it off just like that? You can. But recommended? What you need to do first? Eject it. No. Okay, Nana. So question here. See, EC2 instance has availability zones. EC2 instance has availability zones. Yes. Volumes also has availability zones. EC2 instance has availability zones. Volumes also has availability zones. Let's say, what is availability zone meaning here? What is the availability zone? Data center. If the EC2 instance is in 1A, your volumes also should be in? Yes or no? 1A meaning what here? Availability zone. Assume that your EC2 instance is in 1A, your volume should be in 1B, na? If I am here, my students, you should be here also, here, right? Will you be in another room? Will you be from another trainer? No, we need? Yes, thank you. Okay, self dabba. Right, okay. So you understand here. So EC2 instance is having, EC2 instance has availability zone and volumes also has availability zone. Now question here is EC2 instance and volume, they both should be inside the same availability zone is a certification question. EC2 instance and volumes, they both should be inside the same availability zone. Now question for you here again. You have 1A volume. Can you attach to 1B EC2 instance? Answer is no. 1A volume. Volume is in which availability zone? 1A. Your EC2 instance in which availability zone? 1B. Can you attach 1A volume to 1B EC2 instance? Two different data centers? No, right? I have 1B volume. Can you attach to 1A EC2 instance? No. I have 1A volume. Can I attach to 1A EC2 instance? 1B volume, 1B EC2 instance? Yes. Cross? Not possible. Cross? Not possible. Guys, please wait for the questions. I'll take all the questions. Let us finish this, okay? EC2 instance has availability zones. Volumes also has availability zone. So EC2 instance and volume, they both should be inside the same. EC2 instance and volume should be in same availability zone. And by the way, EBS is regional or global? EBS is regional. Yes, Sai Kumar, possible. That when we go to EC2 topic, there we learn. So there is a question from Sai Kumar. Sir, would it be any scenario where root volume will be detached? Yes. Yes or no? Possible. So for that, you need to go deeper into the EC2 subject. But just quickly, I'm just giving you for Sai Kumar. See here, assume there is one EC2 instance, another EC2 instance. It has its own volume. What volume is that? Root. This also have root volume? Yes. Okay, now see here, for example. I have logged into this machine and installed 10 softwares. How many? 10. So this volume has 10 softwares or not? Now something happened to this machine. Can you detach this and then attach it here or not? Yes or no? You remove this existing volume and attach another root volume. So there are multiple scenarios where we can detach and attach the root volumes also, additional volume. But mostly root volumes we don't detach. We'll do with the additional only. But there is a case that we can detach also possible. Okay, so let me give you one small scenario here. I have two EC2 instances here. Tell me, is it possible or not? Okay. This is EC2, EC2. This is in 1A and this is in 1B. And what is that? This has a, what is this? Root volume. This is also root volume. And the root volume is also in which availability zone? 1A, this one 1B. The question for you here is, can you detach this 1A, attach to this and like this? Possible or not possible? Yes or no? Yes or no? This EC2 instance in which availability zone? This EC2 instance in which availability zone? I'm asking 1A volume can be attached to 1B EC2 instance. 1B volume can be attached to 1A EC2 instance. Then why you're saying yes? Everyone said no, but only one or two. Those who said yes, understood? So 1A volume cannot be attached to 1B. Cross, not possible. Here, 1A volume can be attached to 1B EC2 instance. Answer is no. Why? Because what's the reason? Different availability zones. Different availability zones. I'm writing here. We cannot attach 1A volume to 1B EC2 instance because it is a different availability zones. We can attach 1A volume to 1A EC2 instance. Possible because why? Same availability zones. Fantastic. Okay. Assume that these are all the EC2 instances. Okay. EC2, EC2, EC2. And I have one volume. I have a volume. Guys, tell me. I have a volume. Can you tell me how many volumes are there here? One. One volume can be attached to multiple EC2 instances at the same time? Answer is no. We have learned already that one volume cannot be attached to multiple EC2 instances. But in the real time, if there is a requirement that if you want to share the storage, shared storage, what is that? For all the machines, I need to have only one storage. What is that called? Shared storage. None of volumes can be shared. No, volumes cannot be shared. But what if you need to have a shared storage? All EC2 instances need to share the same storage. What? So generally, you cannot share the volumes. You cannot share the volumes among EC2 instances. You cannot share it. You cannot share it. But what if need to have a shared storage? I want a shared storage for all the EC2 instances. They all need to share the same data. What is that service? We will see in tomorrow's class. Understood? Guys, Mohan, my old guys, old batch people, please do not reveal the topics, please. Okay, let us respect others because I want to inject each and every service name with a proper reason. Okay, for that reason, please hold. I understand that you know, but let us also other people learn properly. Okay, good that you remember all the topics. Nana, is this clear? Okay, online questions now. I think one or two questions left when I was teaching. Please ask the questions again. Don't leave the class. Sir, from yesterday's call, as you said, whatever we do in AWS, it is generating an event, like it is history or work log. So it's not about, for that also, Kishore, there is a separate history and work log. But this one is API. Whatever we create, event will be generated. No, Hibernate is different, Harish. There's no relation to Hibernate. Okay, Kishore. But we should not call it as history or work log. That is completely different. In the backend, API calls will be there. Okay. Netra, can you explain about mount topic? Mount here is what is the default? What is the root volume mounted as? What is the device name? /dev/sda1. So every EC2 instance will have the root volume, and that root volume is always mounted with the device name /dev/sda1. Example, Netra, for example, you have launched EC2 instance. The EC2 instance need to be booted or not? So if you have EC2 instance have 3 volumes, how does the EC2 instance knows which volume has operating system to boot? Based on the device name. So if you have mounted the root volume as /dev/sda1, this EC2 will directly go into that root volume and boot it. Okay. Next, maximum volume is mentioned as 16 terabyte, but okay, that is different. That when we go deeper, we'll talk about that. Sai Kumar, don't worry. Oh, for that, we need to learn about types, different types. If the root volume is removed, can we still run EC2? What is your answer? If the root volume is removed, can you still run EC2? If the heart is removed, person will alive? No, similar. So root volume is the heart of EC2. How can we run without OS? EC2 instance cannot be run without OS. For that, we should use Dockers. Okay. Need to take screenshot. Okay. We should. Okay. Next, sir, at the time, volume multiple EC2 instances, but detach is next EC2 attaches. Sir, yes, Naveen, that is possible. Now, one additional volume, I can detach it. One volume can be attached to multiple EC2 at the same time? No. But can I detach and attach it to another EC2 instance? Yes, that is possible. But at a time, not possible. Sir, any connection between S3 and EBS because both are used for storage? Yes, there is no connection between S3 and EBS. S3 is what based storage? Object based storage, where you can store only objects. Can we do anything there? No. But whereas here in EBS, you can store, execute, run, install, do everything here. It's a file system. Yeah, it's a file system, block based. Can we execute .sql files from S3? You can store it, Hussein. You can store .sql files, but you cannot execute there. You can call it and execute somewhere, but you cannot execute in S3. But you can store. Guys, whenever someone asks the questions, please respond to that questions. Yes, sir. CC, sir. Understood something, because if the questions, I should know whether the questions got answered or not. Okay. Any other questions? Super. Take the screenshots. Okay. And the second one. Slowly we are entering to the topics or not? Yeah. So guys, I'm telling you, I will be following a strategy that you love a lot. So just be patient. You will be learning simply, easily, strategically. Okay. Okay. Online, can we get the final CC for today, please? All right. So that is all for today. Let's connect tomorrow with the next beautiful topic. Until then, take care, guys. See you tomorrow. Don't miss the class. Srinivas, please check with the admin. He will share. Good night.